We grew up in the best decade.
That would be the 90s, no debate.
Born in 79 and 80, we lived it. Welcome to Borderline Brilliant. Let's get into it. Man, those were the days.
Dude, so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, those were like, I was trying to think back and I'm like, okay, 90, right? Like that was right before a couple years before we moved to the States.
Yeah.
So we had that whole transition. And then, going to like middle school, high school, graduating high school in that time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It was so good.
Heading to college, like, bam. And like, I love that you take it back to like before we even moved because I remember at that point where we were, that was also epic because where we lived there was like so many beautiful forests and all that kind of stuff, but then it was also, suburbs and all that. So there was just all these incredible parks and everything like that, and it was so free. And I remember I would just get on my bike and I could just take off and just go through the neighborhoods, cut through different trails, go through like these beautiful forests, and then like find myself a few miles later down at the Hasty Market to go grab some gum or some candy or whatever it was, like those sour suckers they used to have and like the big red feet. And I remember they had these crazy sour balls. I don't know what they were, but they
Yeah.
were super duper sour and they were just all the craze. I don't even know. They're probably illegal now, like so many other things,
Yeah,
like
they're
riding your
gum. They
bike a
turned
few
to
miles
gum
away.
again. Yeah.
You know. So I mean that's just the start of the 90s for me is that freedom. And I just know that that's not really, even that is something that isn't really that available today now for kids at that age. You know what I mean? To be able to go and not only just drive around your neighborhood for fear of, getting run over or this, that, and the other, but like going through trails and, you know, parks and forests and ending up on the other side of town at a random like convenience store and just buying some candy or going to your friends or your cousins far away. Like, it was just amazing. It was so much fun, and it was just like not even a second thought about it. Like nobody was, of course, no cell phones, no GPS tracker, no nothing. It's just like, where's he at? Ah, he's out riding his bike. Cool. I'll be back before it gets dark.
Yeah. That was a rule. Be back before it's dark.
Yeah.
I mean, Beiji, our grandmother, used to just be like, she would get so mad and she would, especially in the summers, we'd just be gone. And
Hmm.
she'd be like, I don't know where you guys are. And I'm like, we're just like at the park or we're at one of our friends' house. And we didn't have that many friends. It was like, which ones you can
Yeah.
literally go to their house and find them. And it was crazy because I was like, I can't even imagine allowing my kids to do that now.
Yeah. And just not knowing and being
Yeah.
okay with that.
Hmm.
Like, no, it's not dark yet. It's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And just trusting that like they were gonna be like they're like, yeah, they're gonna be fine.
Day in and day out.
Hmm. Yeah.
And we did all kinds of, dumb stuff, but nothing like overly dangerous or like whatever. Like, I remember one time I caught like a gardener snake and I didn't even know or think or worry about what it was. I was just like, oh, cool, a snake. Like my friend pointed it out. We were like going through this trail in a forest and he was like, and I didn't even think about poisonous, not poisonous. I didn't know it was a gardener. I just was like, oh, cool, a snake. And I just went and like grabbed it and picked it up. And then like I brought it home. But then I had no idea what to do with it. So I was like, we had just gotten some sort of like something that came in a big, tall, slim box. So I was like, all right, let me put it in this box for now because I don't think you can get out of this. And it was like sitting in the garage. And I was like, and I'll figure out what to do. Okay, but look, no internet, no nothing. And I wasn't about to tell anybody I had a snake in the house. And then I was just like, the next day, I was like, yeah, I have no idea what to do with this thing. So I retrieved it from said box, went back to the forest, and released it back into the forest. So I was like, you go, buddy. I don't know what to do with you, man. Live your life.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
randomly. Could you imagine that?
no, no, I could not. Like, I think my most vivid memory of like living there at that time is riding my bike with my Walkman. And for
Mm,
those of you that don't know what a Walkman is, it's the previous version of an iPod. and it was basically took cassette tapes and you had actual headphones that were wired in. And I remember I was riding down the street back to our house and I'm like, just free and like going down the street, whatever, listening to my music. And then I don't know how I realized or I felt like something was like behind me. And then I look back and there's this poor old man trying to like get through. And I was just like, sorry, dude. And I was just like, ride. I wasn't riding like in one place. I was literally just like going on the street. I wasn't riding on the sidewalk, guys.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
was just like, I still remember that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. But it was I think that's the biggest thing. I think it's like such a free time. Like it's such
yeah,
a freeing, it was so many, like you just felt free. And
yeah,
I do feel sad for kids now because they don't really get that
yeah,
as much as we try to give that to them. And yeah, it's just like being unplugged from
yeah,
things and just your entertainment was outside and not having like whatever was on TV and programming was made to really be limited, for
yeah,
kids to watch TV like in the evening some and then on like Saturday mornings, right?
yeah,
But the rest of the
exactly.
time was just going and playing, having fun with your friends, hanging out. Um, which is just, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, you just knew that there was this window for you to catch those kids' shows or cartoons or anything of that nature, and you obviously did everything to not miss those because it was epic. And then after that, though, it was like, all right, we're out. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
maybe grab a bite to eat or something like that or whatever, but we were gone. And there was no like, I'm bored or what should I do? Just go outside, figure it out.
Hmm. Yeah, it was an
Or get
adventure,
upset.
right? Like
Yeah,
it's like choose your,
exactly.
like literally like people have choose your own adventure, but that's exactly what we were doing was choosing our own adventure. And it's so fun to think about it like, that way now. And then, you know, being a couple of years after that into the 90s we moved to Tennessee and then I don't know if it was like the first year we were there or when they had the massive snowstorm. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
for
feel like it was
sure.
early on we were there
It
and I
was.
remember because they had said it doesn't snow there. Like it's
Yeah.
like pretty like moderate weather and
Hmm.
so it's very rare it does not snow. It doesn't really get that cold. And then we moved there we literally got gosh, I don't even know how much like I mean, inches of snow. Like they've never, and of course they have no way of dealing with it because
No
they're,
snow management,
yeah,
ice
they don't have snow
management.
management because they don't
They
get
don't even
snow.
know what that
Yeah.
is.
And it like shut the whole city down and it was so
Hmm.
crazy. And I was like, wow, we just brought all this with us from
Yeah,
Canada.
and that's what's crazy because, like, I remember, growing up in Toronto and stuff, like, some of my actually most peaceful, beautiful memories would be around, like, Christmas time. And, with our house, my bedroom, one of the windows faced out towards the street. And just at night, in the dead of night, the snow plows coming across, and just quiet guardians of the night just going and plowing all the fresh snow out of the way and clearing the roads. And I don't know why, I used to just be mesmerized by that. I really loved just kind of sitting up and looking out my window at the snow plows. It was just such a beautiful sight to me. So yeah, and it was cool. And then yeah, over there, they had no idea what to do with it. There was nobody on call. There was no silent guardian of the night. It was like, all right, guys, we're shutting the city down for a few days. When the sun comes out again, we'll be back. Everybody hunker down. Make sure you got enough water.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it was crazy. But yeah, I mean, what's my next memory? I think the other thing is, I mean, remembering when the internet came into existence is
Mm,
really interesting because I remember that in the beginning, I don't know if you had a computer, only you had the computer in your room, and
yes.
then we eventually, okay, yeah, and which I was like, okay, I see how it is. Like
Yeah.
he gets the
Yes.
computer,
Yes. We
the
know you
brainiac,
have a
yeah.
litany of complaints.
I was like,
But
and
yes.
then dial up. I can't even make
My
the AOL
God.
noise, but like
That
just waiting for that dial up and then no one to pick up the phone and
Yeah. The
while
minute
you're
someone
on there,
picks
you're
up the phone, your internet connection is finished.
gone.
And you get yelled at because they're like, what the hell is this? I need to make a phone call. And you're like, oh my God, you killed my internet. I was downloading a photo,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
anything. And then connection ruined. You have to start all over. And yeah, it was crazy. And that's the thing. So like a little bit of our time of that formative year was huge because of course we moved to Tennessee, so that was all new and kind of finding our bearings there and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess next would be that very much so. That kind of was the big next leap, right? Was that I remember we got a Dell 486, and I can't imagine how pathetically slow that is in nowadays with the gigahertz and everything that we have, and to like even any app or anything of that nature, it came on like the floppies, and an app took like 6 to 8 floppies potentially to install it because that's how little each one could carry on it. And then even when it was like the thicker kind of more robust floppies that I guess carried a little bit more data and programs, but of course programs kept getting bigger, so it still takes 6 to 8 to 10 disks to install anything. And so I just remember that was wild. That was very cool. And we used to do, and before the internet was like intranet, was more like me and my buddies would like dial into each other's computers and like share files. You know what I mean? Of stuff we kind of went out to the internet to get, and
Yeah.
then we're all stockpiling stuff, and then we would share stuff between our systems and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pretty unique. I remember we were building websites and doing all this kind of wild stuff. So, I mean, it was neat. It was definitely a whole new toy and new thing and a new frontier for sure. It was very cool.
Yeah, it was also just going to point this out. Me and my friends were not sharing any files because we didn't have computers in our rooms. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's
I don't
also
even know
that.
what you were doing most of the '90s. I'm not gonna lie. I was very busy doing my own thing.
I mean, like, well, it's funny because I mean, we were so present, like
hmm
in whatever we were doing. Like, it was, you know, playing or going to school or whatever it was. There was no, and then, calling each other on the physical phone, like to
hmm
actually talk to your friends. And, uh, it was
Everyone knew who called, who's calling for who. There was none of this like side
anonymity.
deal
Yeah.
stuff or anything like
No.
that. It was like you called, you spoke to the person's parents respectfully, greeted them, asked them how they were doing, and then asked to speak to the child. You know what I mean? Like it was a family affair. There was no
Yeah.
just, you know, someone trying to slide in your DMs or something like
Yeah, there was
at
no. I
all.
mean,
Yeah.
listen, it is my life's. I was thinking about this the other day and I was like, man, what do I want? Like, what would be my ultimate flex? And I'm like, being unplugged. Like,
Yeah.
I want someone like my assistant who can basically do all my stuff for me
Be that
electronically.
firewall.
Yeah,
Be that firewall.
exactly. Be a
hmm
firewall for me. And I'm just going to have one phone that only has the people that are the closest to me that can get a
hmm
hold of me. And the rest is just all going to go through that person because that is like, to me, the ultimate. And I feel like more and more the stuff that like I want or crave is from that decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all coming from that place of like just being free and being young and, you
And I
know,
think part of that goes back to what like I legit just said to you. I really don't know what the heck you were ever up to or what you were doing because I didn't have to worry about you. You didn't have to worry about me. You were
yeah.
just doing your thing and I was doing my thing. Now it's like take care of your brother, take care of your sister, make sure they're this, make sure they're that. And it's not that I didn't care you. I always had your back and things of that nature, but I just didn't need to be concerned with what you were doing at all times or
No.
who you were with or whatever. It was just like you do you or whatever.
It
And
was. It's so true. I didn't even think about that, but it's true. Like I mean, we obviously hung out and did stuff together, but
yeah, we
it
did a
was
lot of
never
family
like,
time stuff for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, but I mean, outside of that, I don't know what was going on. I was never worried about you. It was just like she's doing her thing, I'm doing my
Hmm.
thing, and I'll see her later tonight. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we were always a close family, but I just literally don't know how you spent your time outside of, what I mean, our family things. I never even thought about it.
I mean, I like, yeah, I think a lot of it was just either at school with your friends. Like, I mean, I didn't get to go to my friend's house that much until high school
Yeah.
when I started driving finally. But, more of um, just, yeah, just being in the now. And then, yeah, and then I got a job in high school at Kirkland's, which anyone who lives in the South knows what Kirkland's is. It's a home decor store. So all the aunties were all my best friends because, they were like,
Hmm.
use your discount. And I was like, I can get in trouble.
Yeah, I know. They're
I'm a
like, no,
rule
it's fine.
follower.
Don't worry about it.
They're like, but get me this. I'm like, they are not going to believe that I need this many things for my house. Like,
Yeah, for real.
come on. But it's just so funny. And like, even that freedom of, finally getting like my driver's license and then being able to like drive. And then mom and dad in their bravery allowing us to drive all the way, all the trips we took back to Canada. Like, I still
Hmm.
can't. I'm like, wow, I can't even believe that they're just like, sure, you guys just
Yeah.
started driving. Here's practice. Just we're gonna just hang out in the back. You guys drive. Like I can't even imagine that now.
So brave. So brave. Yeah, no, I mean, and that was the thing, like, and then, even before the driving, right? It was like you were kind of limited to either where your bike would take you or your feet would take you. So, yeah, you'd have friends in the neighborhood if you did. If you didn't, then maybe you'd go to their house or something after school if they're on the same school bus route or something, and then their parents or your parents could kind of, collect you afterwards or something. Like, that was kind of the limited thing. So other than that, you just kind of, satellite TV came along at that point too, and once again, it bit me in the butt because satellite, it broadcast to the entire house, and I remember I used to love reading these books, and I finally, finally got to watch this movie of that I had read this incredible book about, and I'm sitting there watching it, and mom and dad have a TV in their room. I'm in the main living room just watching this movie, which is pure action packed, Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery, and then of course one scene comes on where it's very violent and very sexual, and of course that's the time that they turn it on and they see this and they're like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "You know what? I don't care. I read the book. I'm watching this movie. You just happen to flip it on for this like 13-second scene. You're just going to have to get through it, okay? Because I'm watching this movie. This is not what it's about at all." And I just remember the first time I actually was like, "God damn it, I'm watching this." Have you read a book? No. So you don't know what this is about. Yeah,
I
so
mean, that's the other thing is that like I don't even know. Like I kind of knew what your interests were, but I think I've only realized now as I've had kids and they've gotten older how much you read compared to me.
yeah. Which nobody would have believed back
No,
then, to be quite honest,
no
that
one would
I
believe
was the
that.
one who did the reading.
Oh, and you took AP classes. I had never took one AP class.
Yeah.
No,
It's just, yeah, it's funny. We just kind of did our own thing. But that was the thing. But like, yeah, I did some of those things and those were, whatever. But like, other than that, I wasn't that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I was pretty reckless. I remember on swings, I would jump off a swing and I would love getting high and high and high and jump. And then on one of them, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a cannonball. Like, that's the stupidest thing you could ever do. Jump off a swing onto like pavement and do a cannonball. But that's just how dumb I was. Like, this will be good until it wasn't. And I got banged up pretty good. But yeah, so that didn't really correlate with my AP and books and all that. But what are you gonna do? you know?
there was the two different sides of. Yeah, I feel like that's I think the things that I try to give my kids as much as I can now, but it's just such a, I don't know, it's such a different time and different world that I was mentioning this to my daughter like before. I was like, hey, this is one of the topics we're considering. And it was so funny. She was like, oh my gosh. She's like, yeah, it's all over the internet and everyone agrees that it's the 90s. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. I said, and I get why though, because it's before, the internet was so like new
Hmm.
and we didn't have all of these apps and the phones and everything. And as much as they do, I mean, obviously give us a lot of like really good things and provide a lot of conveniences, it's also like so hard to be unplugged. And I think that's what I like loved so much about that time is just being able to have that extreme sense of freedom of like, I mean, when I got my driver's license, like I didn't have a pager and I didn't have a phone, so if I
Yeah.
wasn't home, I wasn't home, you
And
know?
that was the thing. Like, and even, okay, that's one thing for the family to locate you or not locate you. You just kind of let them know, like, hey, I'm going to be whatever. I'll be back. Once again, you knew the person would be back, first of all. But like with your friends, the people you were actually meeting, you would arrange a meetup spot, time, and place. And that was that. And either you made it or you missed the bus. You know what I mean? Because after that, we all met at someone's house or someone's place, and then the plan got together, and then we all went somewhere, wherever that might be. So if you missed that initial meetup, you're cooked. I don't know where anybody is. There's no phone or pager to hit up to locate everybody. Like
Yeah,
that's just, you know what I mean?
makes
Maybe
you
if we
lose.
met, yeah, we met up at a friend's house. Maybe if his dad saw him, be like, hey, do you know where they went? You know what I mean? Like,
We did that so much. Hey, do
yeah,
you know where they went? Call the person. Hey, do you like phone tag? Oh my gosh. Oh, I just remembered like the best memory. So I remember, okay, our mom was almost always home when we were home. And so I remember we got up one morning, it was a Saturday, I think. We get up on the weekend and, like we're up for I don't know how long, and mom's not home. So we're just like, what the hell? Like, where's mom? She's always home. Like, she's literally never gone anywhere. So we like waiting. I don't know how long we waited. For us, it felt like an eternity that we waited and she didn't
hmm
come home. So then we basically start the telephone, like
yeah,
line thing, the telephone,
calling all
whatever
the
you want to call it.
aunties.
And we're literally calling each auntie and being like, is my mom at your house? And they're like, no. And they're like, are you worried? And I was like, I don't know. She's like never gone for this long. Like, why is she not home? And it was the funniest thing ever. We literally just picked up the phone and called like, I don't know how many aunties. And then she finally showed up and then she was like, "What is wrong with you guys? Like, I can't believe you literally called up like every single one of my friends to be like, where is she?" And I was like, "We were worried, man. Like, you weren't home. You
Yeah,
never leave for this long." But like, that's how it was back then. Is like, that's what you literally had to do is either
yeah.
go and physically knock on people's doors
hmm
or call every single
Yeah,
person. And you had the phone book, so everybody's number was listed in there. You
that's
could
a
look them
fact.
up. And
You know
luckily,
what's
we
funny,
lived in
Raj?
small.
We had the phone book, but we never did in our house the notepad. There
Yeah,
was never the notepad of, hey, I'm out for this or I'm
yeah,
out for that. It was either we had a combo or we didn't.
yeah.
Once again, snooze or lose.
Yeah, it's crazy because now I think about it, I'm like, yeah, we never did. We never left notes for each other. It was just like I either told you or I didn't tell you, and
Yeah,
you'll
and
find
that
out
was
whenever
it.
I return.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
no,
was
that was
funny because
crazy.
mom and dad were also a lot of those times they'd take off. They'd have to go back to Canada or they'd go somewhere here or there. And it would just be you and me, just hanging out. You know what I mean? That was pretty common as well. And once again, no stress. I have this vivid memory. It was so funny. I remember I was taking a shower and then all of a sudden you're like banging on my
Okay.
door, and I'm like, what? And you're like, William, somebody's throwing rocks at the window. And I'm like, what? Like, we had the longest, steepest front lawn in this house. Like, I'm like, do you see anyone? You're like, no. And I'm like, okay, I don't think someone's lobbing footballs from like a field away. And they were floor to ceiling windows. And I was like, dude, if you can't see anyone, it's not, it's birds. You're like, what? I was like, yeah, they're birds, man. It's floor to ceiling. They can't tell it's glass and they fly and bang into it and go down. You're like, oh my God, I think you're right. Oh my God, yeah, bird just hit the window. I was just like, and more than anything, I was relieved. I was like, thank God somebody's not throwing shit at our window. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to deal with this right now.
Dude, I was just thinking the same exact story. I was like, that shit was so damn funny.
Yeah,
Oh
dude,
my God. I was
that
like,
was hilarious.
yep, yep.
And I mean, it was 50-50. I'm just glad that's what it was because I was just like, I'm not trying to deal with the alternative right now.
Yeah,
Like,
somebody
why?
should throw some shit at our
Yeah,
window. I mean, we lived in such a safe neighborhood. That would be very
yeah,
odd if someone was doing that. But that, oh my God, that was so funny. Yeah, I still remember that. I was just like, oh, yeah, that tracks. That makes way more sense than my theory.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like, oh, I think my other, and I don't even remember exactly what we did, but like, so you came to pick me up when I was in DC going to school.
hmm
And then we were driving back, just you and I.
Hmm.
and the van, it was a newer
Oh
van,
my
like something,
God.
it
It
just
it was
stopped.
brand new.
Yeah, like I think it stopped accelerating, and so we
It,
pulled over.
the accelerator started
Yeah,
fluctuating by
yeah,
itself. It would rev and go
yes,
down, high,
yeah,
low, and it was
right,
something was wrong.
yeah. And so we're like, all right, we
On the
pull over
highway,
on a
DC.
highway for yeah, coming out of DC, driving back to Tennessee, and then we pull over and we pop the hood, and then I'll never forget this. We're like looking at this engine, and we're standing there, and we look at each other, and we're like, "What are we looking for?" We're like, "I don't know, man."
I don't know, man. I thought you knew. I thought you knew. I was like, I have no idea what I'm looking at.
And then I was like, "What do we do?" Like, I was like, "Did we just walk to the next exit?" Like, I can't even remember now, like, because we didn't have phones.
No, but well, because again, because the accelerator was up, down, down, left, it was still going. We just knew something was wrong. So
Oh,
we're
okay,
like,
yeah,
all right, let's just drive on and try to find a shop or something of that
yeah,
nature.
yeah.
And
Oh,
then
that's
we
right.
did. We
Okay.
were able to go and find like a local shop, and then it ended up being a sensor, something to
Yeah, yeah.
do with the yeah. So and it was covered under warranty and all that kind of, whatever it was, it got taken care of. But yeah, that was hilarious, and I'll never forget that. We're both just staring at it and hoping the other one has some clue. I mean, I don't mean to be sexist, but I guess I kind of thought maybe you had a reason to look at me and think I knew. I don't know what reason I had to think that you might know. I just know we both had no clue, and we were like, confirm that with that look to one another.
No, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, we'll figure it out. That was, I mean, that was, yeah, and we did and made it through, but man, that is like some, oh my gosh, that was so crazy. I was just like, I don't know what's happening here, neither do you. What are we gonna do next? And then
Yeah.
again, like I can't imagine like the kids now, like as soon as you something goes wrong, like you don't have that critical thinking built in because you
Yeah.
don't even have the opportunity to develop it, right? And so it's like I have actively had to stop myself and the kids when they're asking their because they'll ask a question. I'm like, well, what do you think? What would you
Yes.
do? Because I feel like right now, I mean, especially now, my God, even more so now because with AI, it's like okay, let me just ask AI. It's like, no, think about what you would do next. Like, what would you, even with like Google Maps now, I mean, sometimes when I'm going now, I just turn it off because I want to actually use my brain to engage of like, hey, how would I get there? We used to have to use maps, right? We'd
Dude.
map it out. Like, we'd have to look at the map, know where we're going, get lost a couple of times, and go back and look at the map again and then figure it out. It's like such good critical thinking, which now is like so hard because everything is like so spoon fed,
Yeah, we'd
and
have
it's
to
not their
literally map it out, kind of look at it, reset our odometer constantly to know how many miles we had traveled and around what bend we were going to be taking the exit. I remember the greatest thing that ever happened was MapQuest.
Yeah.
No one probably knows what MapQuest is. MapQuest was amazing. It was like offline Google Maps.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you would go on a MapQuest, you would tell it the route you wanted to take, and then it would give you line by line directions of what you would do. And then you would print that out, and then you would still need to reset your odometer because it would be after 97 miles, because we took very long road trips. All right, people, like I mean, we were taking 12, 13 hour drives was our norm. 6, 7 hours was like a quick jaunt for us. So yeah, so those were important. You still had to pay a lot of attention. There was no alert. It was a piece of paper, and you had to follow it. And if you didn't, well, guess what? Or you got lost, or there was a detour, bust out the map book, ladies and gentlemen, and start from scratch. Or the trick was to follow big rigs. If there's a detour, follow them and hope they were also going in the same direction you were going and they're not going to some obscure
Yeah.
offloading place. But with that critical thinking thing, you're saying, like, even now when I'm training new employees for different things and positions, and a lot of them are younger, which is hilarious to me. Like, because I still feel young, but oh my god, like I even have managers who are younger than me. Like, it's funny. Everyone's younger than me, but anyway. So obviously, employees that I'm training up on things, they'll ask me a lot of questions, and I have a lot of knowledge, and I have a lot of things I could just answer. But then I still try to be like, well, where do you think you can find that information? Like, what would be the best way for you to get this? and make them think. You know what I mean? Because of course I could just give the quick answer, but I would much rather them understand the resources they have available and to think about, if I needed this answer, where would the best place be to go? And they figure it out. They understand. But you just got to kind of say, hey, what about this? What do you, and then, okay, I get it. And it's just like, use the resources you have, because I want them to be more flexible and elastic and be able to figure things out. Because if you only spoon feed everything, then any roadblock that comes up, they're going to come back to you for the answer versus using all the different tools at their disposal.
Yeah, and I think if you are a younger person or you have kids or whatever it is, or really in any phase, and if you did not grow up in that time, you can still learn these things, and I think they are really important, especially with the invention of AI. Critical thinking is always going to be important. That's what sets us apart as human beings. And so there are ways you can still do that. And honestly, you can use AI to help you. You can help it prompt and teach you how to continue to develop that. And I think that's like really important. And I actively try to do that with my kids, of trying to be like, I can give you the answer, but also it's funny because they ask me the most ridiculous questions, which just like really tells me what age they grew up in, because they'll be like really factual stuff, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, why do you think this is or that is, or like something about like something really specific about science. I don't remember what he asked, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. How would I know? But
Yeah.
they're so used to having knowledge so readily available
Yeah.
that they like assume that we all know this information, which
Mm.
obviously we do not. So it's really kind of funny to like be like, no, no, I don't know this stuff, and I know I'm not AI, and I'm not Google. Like I can't tell you this information. You have to look it up. And teaching them how to look it up, like where they can find it again, of being more resourceful. What is like your, again, I know it's, I mean, 10 years is a long time, but like what's your number one like highlight of that decade for you?
Honestly, like, I don't even know if I want to say highlight, because there was just so many incredible memories made through every kind of journey in life. Like we said, our big move, starting over all in a whole new country. We moved homes a few different times, from where we started in the apartment adjacent to the hotel to where we ended up. Beautiful home, and just kind of the success we had as a family. And then, like, driving, high school, college, like, it was an incredible journey. I don't even know where the highlight is. I think it's more just about, so blessed to grow up where we did and how we did, because also getting away from Toronto and being there allowed us to really fan out and grow as individuals and really become who we were, rather than under the rigid kind of conformity we may have had being over there and insulated by family. It really have us discover ourselves. But something that stays with me throughout was just the music. The music was incredible. You know what I mean? Like, I just, so many of those things, those throwbacks, they just bring me back to that. And then I remember, we used to, a mixtape, because again, cassette tapes, we used to literally record off of the radio. That's how you made a mixtape. There was no other way of really doing it. So we would just make tapes of recordings and things like that. And then tapes obviously went to the CD, So then we started having CD Walkman, CD players in the cars and everything like that. And again, this is all before MP3. And then there was, mini disc. Mini disc was like a fad that came for a little while, which had kind of the storage capacity of a CD, but without the skipping that a CD would do, which that was the other issue with CDs versus tapes. And then finally MP3. That was a revolution. And now MP3, we thought that was the be all end all, and now you have streaming music, which is just unbelievable. Like, folks, you have no idea how incredible it is to just have a streaming service and have every song known to man basically available to you. Like, the amount of CDs we bought, tapes we bought, things we recorded for all those memories. Like, we really had to work for our music, versus what it is now and the selection you have. And I think that's why people are more, I think, quite broad and stuff like that in their music, whereas back then you kind of zoned in on a certain type. Like, of course you could have more than one, but you really zoned in on one because it was an investment, you know. It was an investment, friend group and everything kind of shared that. So the vibe was, the vibe was throughout the whole friend group and everything like that. So I don't know. I'm just really thankful that we had the freedom that we had, of where we were, just as a family and as a community, and just good, wholesome people, and just really got to explore ourselves and our environment, and just really find our footing in life. And I think that's what catapulted us to the next decade. You know what I mean? It was like that identity that we formed there.
Yeah, I agree.
How about you? I gave a very roundabout answer. Do you have something specific you can put your finger on?
Um, I mean, same as you. I think it'd be hard to pick one. I think the road trips were the highlight, just
Yeah,
overall. I
yeah.
think those are the highlight because that, like, I learned so much about myself, driving, people,
Mm-hmm.
just scenery, and just like being in the moment and not being like on any kind of a schedule, and all that kind of stuff. It was really good.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was a good time. So I'm sure a lot of people can relate in their way, from what they went through and when they grew up. But I think what sets the 90s apart was just, again, the freedom, the different emerging technology, be it, the internet, or like we said, from tapes to CDs to MP3s. Like there was always this kind of next hype, this next train, this next wave. It was a real awakening, technological innovations like that. And then, but like still having that freedom, that innocence, that untethered, raw kind of a life, but having all of this new stuff. And new is always exciting, right? So it was like the space race, but of just stuff that you used every day. You know what I mean? So it was just incredible. And now, of course, you get new stuff all the time, but it's such niche little things. Back then, I mean, the freaking internet was brand new.
Yeah.
Cell phones were brand new. Pagers were brand new, whole new formats of music and everything. And it was just the connectivity, satellite, you know what I mean? To where you could watch stuff from anywhere around. So it was like all these super cool new things that came out kind of back to back to back to back. Like it was wild. It was very cool. And we all got to kind of be part of that grand social experiment together.
Yeah, I agree. So, if it was up for debate, this should settle it. The 90s was the best. And you guys can, chime in the comments and let us know if you grew up in the 90s, or if you wish you grew up in the 90s, or you grew up in a different decade, and why you think it's the best. But for us, it was the ultimate, and it's where we truly became who we are today.